right, so we'll toss out a player, and then we'll say, are we green? We're ready to let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow, we're not really sure. Or red, we definitely want them to stay. We're not willing to trade them. That's how it's going to work, Pish. Okay, first one.
Yep.
You going to start or am I going to start? Terrence Ross, Pish. You go.
Green.
I agree.
Yep.
Are we done?
I'm done. It'd be nice to get something for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a ton of trade value as much as he may have had in years prior. But it seems like the move. I mean, when I'm talking about all this stuff, this has nothing to do with who I feel about these players as a man. I may like them. I may listen to their podcast. But when I'm thinking about building a championship team, I'm trying to think about it from that aspect. Like, I'm playing the video game and I don't have to actually go tell these guys, hey, you're cut. Hey, I'm moving you over here. It's about like trying to build the best team because we want to succeed on the court. And we know to make those steps forward that there's going to have to be some loss along the way. So for me, it's definitely green for Ross. He said he wanted out last year. He said he wanted out in the off season. Then it was like, maybe this team's going to be better than I thought. Maybe I'll hang out. Like, I'm not really sure. Like,
forgot about that.
If he really wants to like play or not. And like his play shows up the same way too, because he's about good every 5 or 6 games he'll be good. And I need somebody that's more consistent, especially as a veteran on our team. Like, I need a more vocal veteran leader on the court than Terrence Ross personally.
Well, if you want some trade value, we could just send the tape of the Oklahoma City Thunder game.
Right, as long as only teams that play, go to Oklahoma City and see, hey, he had a nice game against you guys. What do you think? You want to use this on a regular basis? Like, that's what you have to do. You have to find those teams.
Yeah, again, this is very impersonal. I love to keep all these guys. You grow an attachment to these players as they are on your squad for a while. You get their jerseys, you listen to their podcasts, you hear their interviews, you enjoy their personalities.
Sure.
He's our longest standing vet. He's definitely one of my favorite guys on the team. But I'm not going to let emotion play into this piece. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe a little bit. Because being one of the longest standing vets, he's also the only remaining player from the Rob Hennigan era. Mm. And I'm not, if you're like me, you still get night tremors over the Rob Hennigan era, and I am ready to be done with it. And unfortunately, T-Ross is a symbol of that in a way.
Yeah. I mean, nobody really wants to go over that Hennigan.
Okay. But, I have this maybe unrealistic expectation that the torch can return to form.
Yes.
And I have some of these ideations and these memories of the teams, the Vooch, Fournier, T-Ross team when he was the 6th man and he'd be in at the end of the game, hitting some game-winning shots, hitting some shots, sending games into overtime, being clutch for us, putting up 20-plus points per game, putting up 20-plus points in a quarter. I have those memories, but
they poisoned you when we started this show. When we started this show last year, before the season started, you predicted he'd be our leading scorer.
Yes. I thought at the beginning of last season that as the veteran, he'd kind of move into the starting lineup and pick up a little bit of the scoring punch because, last year it showed out too. We did not have scoring. And if we didn't add Paulo Banchero this year, instead
we didn't know who Franz Wagner was going to be at that point, or how good Jalen.
Those are filling in, but that wasn't. Again, that was how I built it up, and I've been really frustrated this year and last year I didn't think T-Ross was right. I think last year he had some back issues going on. I really did. Heard him talking about that on the podcast. And this year he just didn't seem to have that edge, that nose for the basket, that coming off the screen and immediately shooting it and doing it well. I didn't see that this year. Of course, the OKC game, he goes off. But I think even that piece, and you've helped me to realize that, so thank you, all that has still been an optical illusion.
Right.
Because when I dug into the stats getting ready for this segment, I was thinking, how could he get back to those glory days? Because he's only shooting 34.4% from 3, but do you know his career average is 36%? Which isn't great. He's shooting 41% from the field, which is tied with his career average. And even his career highs, he's never shot over 40% from 3.
Right, man. He's not consistent. That's why his nickname is the Torch. Because sometimes he lights up and goes on fire, but other times there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And nothing burns. And that's part of why I've always not really been a huge fan of his game, is because there's no consistency to it. And that bothers me to no end.
So I think I agree with you, man. It is frustrating. And unless he's willing to just kind of be the 15th guy and take like a veteran minimum type of contract, and just because his family's here and he wants to stay in Orlando for the last few years of his playing career, I think we're leveling up. And sadly, Terrence Ross is a casualty of that. So it's green for me. He can hit the gas and go in the trade market.
It's an agreed upon green by the court cousin.